With great responsibility comes great delay in editing. So this is a message from your editor from the future, just letting you know this episode was recorded at the beginning of this week. So you will hear us talk about D23 and the upcoming announcements as if they are in the future. But by the time you're listening to this episode, that's already happened. So if you are interested in a recap of the biggest, most important Marvel announcements from D23 and mine and Jean's reaction to them, then stick around until after the outro music for that. All right, now let's jump back into the past to hear what Jean and I think about this new Spider-Man movie. Spoiler alert, we liked it. Welcome to Comics Versus, a Lorehounds podcast, your guides to psychic mind-hopping logistics. I'm Elysia, taking a break from my new job as the PR manager of one wayward young red-headed mutant.
And I'm Jean, someone who fully believes that anyone can put on the mask and be Spider-Man. So, Kevin Feige, cast a live-action Miles Morales already. Sheesh, come on.
I mean, he said that after Beyond the Spider-Verse, right?
Potato.
Made? Yeah,
That's big potato stuff. I'm talking small potato stuff. You're talking big brain potato stuff.
I think also something like this, like he needs more than just a new Black Panther to come back from this whole Wonder Man hit and the implications thereof and the Blade. And we talked about it.
Well-deserved implications, by the way.
Yeah, check out our the first half hour of our Supergirl episode is actually talking about Marvel and DC news. So
and we'll probably get back to it once we, do our prep for Doomsday. So
right.
This is not going away, Feige. This is not going away.
But today we'll start with our spoiler-free fresh takes of Spider-Man Brand New Day. But we will then proceed to full-on spoilers from the movie, comic books, MCU, and TV shows as well. Basically, everything can be discussed. One exception I'm putting down is that we will avoid spoilers for the current season of X-Men 97 for now. Do watch this channel for our breakdown of that season that will be coming, I think. We're talking about, it'll come out about 2 weeks after it wraps up this Wednesday. I think it's going to wrap up like a day or so after this comes out. Yeah. And then, stick around until the end of this episode for a section at the end for some more direct comics comparisons put together by Jean. Jean, thank you so much for putting together the notes today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to flex my typing muscles.
Well, thank you for flexing your brain muscles with it. Do you want to take us away, set us up?
Yeah, sure. So this is the fourth MCU Spider-Man movie between the Disney and Fox collaboration. Thank goodness. Mm-hmm. This is set in the same world as the Thunderbolt movies, the Daredevil, Disney Plus show, and all the previous MCU offerings. So everything Avengers, Daredevil, anything MCU related. This is set in the same universe. Our director is one of our faves, Elysia.
Yeah.
Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed one of our faves, Elysia. Who two of us faves, Elysia.
Yeah, that's true.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was a movie that he directed, as well as this year's number one show, according to me, Wonder Man on Disney Plus.
Yeah, he was one of the creators, and showrunner Andrew Guest made clear Dustin Daniel Cretton's schedule is not the problem in that cancellation.
Yes, he did.
Just putting that out there again.
The writers for the Brand New Day movie were Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers. McKenna and Sommers were the writers on the 3 previous MCU Spider-Man films. And this movie is not a direct adaptation of any Spidey comics from way back when. So there is a Spidey comic, Brand New Day, but this is not a adaptation of that comic book.
Okay.
This was the budget, an estimated 225 million.
That's a lot, but
Yeah, and the total box office. So far, there's over $1 billion in this first week. So I guess it made the 225 back.
So I clipped a short blurb from a Variety article about box office that came out on August 9th, yesterday as we're recording. And it says, after opening to a record-setting 355 million domestically, that's a crazy opening weekend for just in the US, and a heroic 932 million globally, Spider-Man Brand New Day has now generated a staggering 655 million in North America and 1.67 billion globally. And this is in less than 2 weeks. It flew past the $1 billion mark in just 6 days and is barreling toward $2 billion. At this pace, box office watchers are wondering whether Spidey has the staying power to become the first movie to ever reach $1 billion at the domestic box office and become the sole film to hit $3 billion globally. Maybe we'll see. So that's the moving goalpost.
That is staggering. That is staggering.
We'll see if it reaches that, but that's now what people are waiting to be impressed by.
Oh boy, wow. Those numbers are just, oh my gosh, spectacular, amazing. So this was filmed primarily in Scotland with Glasgow. Again.
Like Supergirl.
Glasgow playing the stand-in for Mandani Stan. Sorry, not Mandani Stan. I mean to say New York City. So Glasgow, thank you for representing the NY in the way that you did in this film, because it came out really well. The cinema scores, Rotten Tomatoes, critics at 90%, the audience is at 98%. Metacritic, the critics are at 66, with 71% giving it positive reviews.
I can't believe Metacritic is so low.
Yeah, I was shocked by that when I saw it as well. But the users gave it an 8.0 and an 85% positive reviews. The Letterboxd scores was a 4.1.
Which is remarkable.
Yeah, for Letterboxd. Somebody said the snobs like it. I don't know, but it wasn't me, Letterboxd fans.
I wrote it.
Wasn't me.
Come at me on Letterboxd. I'm one of you. But it is like, superhero movies aren't necessarily, of course, there's a lot of us who love these movies on there. But definitely it is a place that, people flock to who are really into a wide variety of films and may turn their noses up at superhero movies. But even with some like nitpicky details aside, even, the film snob servers I'm on Discord are really enjoying this,
As they should. We have a runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes. Did you feel it?
Flew by.
It didn't feel that way.
No, it flew by for me.
Yeah. And our peculiar rating, what do you think?
I see.
I had it at a 1.
Yeah, I see you put a 1, and I can't disagree with that. I would heartily recommend this one to Marilyn for the same reason that I did recommend Thunderbolts to her. I don't think she's gotten a chance to watch it. I don't know, but it makes me think of Riley, who anyone who doesn't know did the 28 years later podcast with us.
Yes.
Third one probably going into production beginning of 2027, just saying. Anyway, but yeah, Riley was saying, also drawing comparisons between this and Thunderbolts, and I felt that a lot while I was watching it, that there's similarities in it, in that they're telling compelling stories by putting the characters first and focusing on like the mental health of these crazy worlds and superheroes. And yeah, we'll talk about a particular speech in this that made me cry.
Okay. So let's get into our spoiler-free fresh takes really quickly. Tell me yours.
Yeah, I really liked it. Obviously, we were just talking off air about, I did a a double feature with the Odyssey, and I watched this one first, and it was such like the cinematic ride that I really needed, the catharsis and like the feeling and the joy and the tears. And then when I went to the Odyssey, that was one that took more intellectual appreciation after the fact rather than joy while watching, as in the case of this one. So yeah, I haven't been able to get to the movie theater recently as much as I would like, as much as to justify my unlimited pass. Um, and on this outing, like I would say, of the two biggest movies right now, this is the one that actually really delivered what I was looking for, what I really needed. Um, I thought it was great. I look forward to watching it again. I think of it's my favorite MCU Spider-Man movie. If will people be upset with me if I call it my I have a recency bias problem. So it's between this and the first Tobey movie for my favorite Spider-Man movie ever. What about you?
All right. So hands down, this is the best, my favorite, and I think the best MCU Spidey movie.
Mm-hmm.
It made me believe in the character's ability to be significant in this next phase of the MCU, if they choose to go that route. Like, I really think this Spider-Man, as we've just seen, can be a linchpin for whatever phase comes next. Whether they're telling a mutant story, whatever, Spider-Man can be a linchpin to all of it. And I think I did not go into this movie believing or even thinking that I would want such a thing.
Mm.
So, hands down, the best MCU Spider-Man movie. This is the best Spider-Man movie that we've gotten.
Also compared to
Tobey, compared to
Andrew Garfield.
This is the best Spidey movie.
Okay.
I think the action sequences were amazing. One in particular, shout out to my boy Mike. We were talking about it on the block yesterday, and just there's this one sequence where we both agree like it has to be top 5 in MCU cinematic history.
Can I get a hint which it is?
It involves 2 other characters.
Okay, all right. You have to shout it out when we go through the.
Yeah. We'll shout it definitely. And I also agree with you with the emotional beats that they made and the issues that they're showing and trying to tackle with this movie, and how they approached Thunderbolts and also how they approached Wonder Man. You can see that these 3 movies are doing things and asking questions of their characters and also asking questions of us, the audience, as to what it means. What is the toll that it takes to have these extraordinary powers? And, how do you handle all of that as a human being? And I think Spidey, Thunderbolts, Wonder Man, in their own ways, because they didn't come at it talking about the same issues. They all show different aspects of how people are trying to cope. And I think that is a great achievement that the MCU has done for superhero storytelling, quite frankly. And I want more of it. I want more of it.
Yeah, it makes me glad that it makes me glad that Jake Schreier, the director of Thunderbolts, is going to also be doing the X-Men movie.
Yeah. And I thought the supporting characters were handled really well, and they didn't overtake the narrative. They were supporting characters. You know what I mean? It wasn't just it wasn't fan service. It wasn't just like, here's the shiny, person that I know you want to see and blah, blah, blah. They really supported Spider-Man, Peter Parker, in this film. And I thought that was, admirable as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was okay. To whom would you recommend this? To whom is there anyone? Okay, let me rephrase that. Is there anyone to whom you wouldn't necessarily recommend this because, like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, would I recommend it to my parents? Yes. Would I recommend it to my sister? Obviously. Would I, recommend it to my neighbor? Yeah. Why not? Would I recommend it to my cats? Yes. There's swinging and threads.
I think I agree with you. I don't think there's anyone that I would not recommend this film to. I think you would find something in it for you to latch on to, whether you like superhero movies or not, whether you like action movies or not, whether you like fantastical things or not. I think there is something for everyone here.
Yeah, I would say in terms of like whether you like superhero movies or not, I would say this is a great one to understand why people do love superhero movies, those of us who do, because it's not, I do love certain things that are technically superhero movies, but are actually something different. Like, I like the horror tinted stuff like
Yes.
Werewolf by Night or the upcoming Clayface or something, but these are not typical superhero movies. Whereas this is a typical superhero movie. It has all of the superhero hallmarks, but doing it at a top level.
Yeah. I agree. All right. So, anything else you want to add?
I don't know. What was your theater experience like?
Oh my gosh. Oh. Anybody who's listening, let me tell you how proud of a papa I am for my 10-year-old. So there's a particular part in the film. The theater is packed, by the way. There were maybe 6 under 12-year-old children there. Everybody else was adult or teens, right? So we're in the theater. There's a particular part in the movie that comes on, and E climbs into my chest and absolutely starts bawling. I mean, he is crying. He's like, no, this can't be happening. And just tears and big, audible cries. And a minute passed and he's crying and we're watching. I'm trying to console him. I'm like, just look on the screen. Just, take a look, see what's happening. And then all I hear someone go, Spidey! And it's as if my 10-year-old gave this room full of teenagers and adults license to let their emotions go. And nearly half of the theater was in tears. So I really feel like this little boy's 10-year-old tears gave people permission to cry. And I felt so amazed by that he felt so comfortable to just be able to do that, just not hold it in, not be brave or all the bullshit that we say to people, and just sit in it and cry for that moment that he felt the sadness that he was feeling watching this film. And if a film can do that, I mean, come on, man. So needless to say, my theater going experience was amazing.
Yeah, mine was normally I would see this movie opening night, and I had booked a ticket to see it in Dolby, which there's an IMAX in Amsterdam, but it's like a whole expensive, time consuming thing. So I was going to go, but then just work stuff. It's just been work stuff lately. So I ended up not seeing it until the second weekend, which is one reason why we're doing this now. And then I ended up having to go during the afternoon and booking like a smaller theater just because that's when the timing lined up. So it wasn't like what I expected, but still, I just noticed as I was rescheduling, I noticed how sold out everything was for both this and the Odyssey. So it's great for theaters. I know this has been great box office wise both of those films in terms of, just giving theaters a boost, even though numbers may be down, prices are up, unfortunately, but just seeing people get excited that they have to go and see these movies. And so the theater was still packed, even though I went on this random weekday afternoon. But I had the opposite experience where, well, I had to sit in the second row because it was so packed. And from just looking around me, I felt like I was the only real adult there. Like, luckily, the people on either side of me were, like maybe 20. So, but then the front row was all a bunch of young kids, and they were so enthralled the entire time. Like, when the scene that made me cry, which I think is a different scene than the one that made your son cry,
Okay.
when my crying scene came on, I also heard the people next to me going, but the kids were like, I don't think the kids responded to that. It's too mature. But they were responding to everything else. They were so into it. And then at the end, someone had clearly told them, you have to stick around until the end of the credits for another scene. And there was like, and so they were doing that and happily doing that. But then, they get bored. They're like doing things with the flashlight and their feet against the screen. One's just doing forward rolls all over the front of the theater. I'm like, oh, I don't know about those floors, dude. But then at the end of it, just as the scene was coming on, the one kid stood up and turned around and looks back at the theater. He's like, all these people stayed for the scene? Like, yeah, welcome to the world of superhero movies. Oh, I went, shh, because the scene had started.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it was a different experience than I would normally have with this kind of movie. And I was worried like, oh, I'm missing out on having, the biggest fans on opening night and all that stuff. But actually it was still, sometimes it's nice to see a film like this with a crowd that's maybe not as invested.
Yes.
Yeah. And see how they still respond to this, how they're still sucked into this. And yeah.
Huh. All right, so should we take a break before we get into the spoiler section of our breakdown?
All right, we'll be right back with spoilers.
Okay, and we're back. Be warned, this is full spoiler territory. We're going to be talking about the film and anything else that can come up that can help us make sense of the film and what we saw, we'll be talking about. Except, as Elysia pointed out, X-Men 97, season 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Peter Parker is alone, and that is a terrible thing for him and Spider-Man. The movie starts, we find Peter with Dr. Strange's spell has made everyone forget who he is. Peter Parker does not exist at all. But thankfully for New York City, Spider-Man is still here, web crawling and slinging around in order to save the city from all manner of criminals. He stops the Hand, Bullseye, Tombstone, Scorpion, and the city loves Spider-Man, even the cops. But who loves Peter? So, what did you think about this opening setup?
Yeah, I mean, the intro montages already get you a little emotional when you see like Peter disappearing from all these scenes with him and Ned and MJ. Yeah, and that's a theme that goes throughout. Like it made my heart hurt sometimes at certain points. Oh yeah, we're past spoilers, so I can say specific things, but like, we'll talk about the scene more later, but when MJ is just like, I just don't remember you. I'm just not that person. Definitely, I've seen a lot of people pointing out the Gomorrah parallel with the other Peter Quill.
Yes. Yeah, gosh.
Jean's favorite character in the world.
I didn't even think about him, not 1 minute of this film.
You refuse to remember he exists until forced.
Yes.
But just it was really, there's that emotional backbone of just this guy who's trying to help people, but he's so alone, except for well, yeah, we had a new character who comes from the comic books, but you
Yes.
can talk more about her.
Yeah, Detective Jean DeWolf.
Wait, her name's Jean too?
Her name is Jean, and my name is Jean.
No, but I mean,
And it's
like
not
Jean
Jean
Grey.
Grey. I know,
Yeah.
yes.
Because there was something, someone was getting, I forget who it was, someone was getting called out for a spoiler saying he liked the character Jean, but he could have actually been talking about the wolf then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Her first name is Jean. Do we even hear her first name in the?
I don't. I guess it didn't like strike me. It took me the longest time because I didn't know the comic character, so it took me the longest time to realize that I was like, "Who's the wolf? Who's the wolf?" Oh, it's her. It's her. That's her last name. I get it
Oh
now.
gosh. So Detective DeWolf, let's keep it simple, is Peter's only friend, it seems. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't talk to anybody else. And it's a nice way to show that he's working with the police, I guess, in some capacity, that he's not totally out there just doing this thing by himself, that he has some sort of support system, even though he's not using it to this full capability. But someone is there who he at least can bounce ideas off about this superhero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy that they reimagined this character from what she is in the comic books, because she harbored she was in love with Spider-Man. She would take pictures of him, and she was in an abusive relationship with her father, who was a cop. Her partner, love interest in the comics, was also abusive. He becomes a villain called Sin Eater, who eventually murders her. And Peter goes to her apartment and finds, all these pictures and this show of love for him that he didn't know existed, and blah, blah, blah. Classic being fridged. Although she had a longer history in the comics, but she was, to me, it's still a fridging. And, basically he goes to find, Sin Eater to exact vengeance and is stopped from killing him by Daredevil, basically, you're better than that. You don't do this, type of bullshit. So yeah, very happy. That's not the Detective DeWolf that we got on screen.
No, it was more of a motherly vibe, if anything.
Yeah, definitely.
But friends, definitely too. It was cute with the whole thing with where she's like, "What are my kids' names?" And he's like, "Well,
Yes.
the one is Poppy," because she just called him like, "Don't do that, Poppy," or whatever she said.
Right.
But then at the end, he comes back and he says, "Tell them," and I'm sorry, I forget their names off the top of my head, but he's like, says them by name, "Tell them I said hello."
Yes.
Can you imagine,
so
like,
nice.
your son, if you were calling on the phone with Spider-Man all the time? How chill would he be? They were very chill. They were like excited, but
he would not be chill at all. At all. This is forget about it. Yeah. So again, I thought this was a great setup to open the film with. Like as you pointed out, the montage of people forgetting him and just him. You really felt like he was alone, from the very beginning. And I will say one thing that I did notice about the film, they used a lot of the Spider-Man PlayStation game. So there's quite a few, visuals that they took directly from the comic book, actually.
Yeah.
From the, they took from the video game.
And the comic books too, yeah. So I guess
that was really something. Like the whole bit with the phone, the tracker, all of that stuff is from the video game.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of gamers that I know pointed that out to me because I don't own a PlayStation. Sue me.
I do, but I know like people say that Spider-Man 2 game especially is like one of the best ever with the swinging
Yes,
mechanics and
yes,
everything.
yes.
I still haven't played it, but it's
Oh
like
my.
I still like I
Even
tend
I've
to
played it, Alicia, and I don't have a PlayStation.
but I have this like I tend to toward these, you know, RPGs that take a million hours and stuff, and
Yeah,
I
of
still have
course.
my backlog of those that I'm working, and that's why I'm a PlayStation person because
Okay.
that's the best platform off, or it was at least for those. So yeah, that's a blind spot. So it's good to know it was because I know also you can see online. There's all these comparisons of where they exactly recreated these shots, these famous images from comic books. And I know Dustin Daniel Cretton was complimenting Tom Holland's control of his body to like
Hmm.
do these, you know, arch his back a certain way, blah blah blah, to mimic these shots
Right,
within a split
right.
second.
I guess the ballet pays off.
That's true.
You
That's
know?
true.
Quick question. How do you
Mm.
think Peter can afford everything that we see that he has in this film? He doesn't have a job, man. He's like
Okay,
Tommy from Martin. You don't got a job, man. How you getting all of this?
so
What's going
here's
on?
I've been talking about this with some people, and here's one theory that is that like he still has some Stark money left over.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
okay, that could be, and maybe also his AI Evie, who was voiced by Naomi Watts, by the way. I didn't realize till after the film.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't even realize that. Wow.
and apparently she also played his first on-screen mother, so this is like a nice callback. But anyway, but so I was wondering, like, is that partially at least based on Tony Stark AI? Probably. But my other thought was, is he, you know, Peter Parker famously becomes a photographer and then takes and sells pictures of himself as Spider-Man, saying, like, I happen to know Spider-Man, here, buy some pictures. So what if he's doing the modern version of that, where he's selling, you know, videos of himself, and that's how they have videos online.
Yeah, I accept all of it. All those explanations are good for me. I had a conversation with a friend, another friend, who said I was quite upset that Peter had all this stuff and with no money. And I'm just like, yo, if that's what you're upset about, bro, just like, reevaluate. Take a step back.
How does
You know
he
what I'm saying?
afford the new Samsung flip phone
Exactly. Take a step back. Just
or fold
chill.
phone?
Chill. So, but I accept all those explanations that you just gave to me. Totally cool.
Yeah.
Um, we saw Mayor Sheila from Daredevil,
Yeah.
uh, which
I,
was I thought she would be in it more
yeah.
for
What
some
do
reason.
But what do we think about the fact? So she was giving the key to Spider-Man, and that's exactly like basically that's all we got is the clip we saw in the trailer for giving the key to
Yes,
Spider-Man. So
yes.
it seems she's like mayor of the city, which we thought, okay, after the end of Daredevil Born Again season 2, fine, that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that seems like an abrupt about. I hope Daredevil season 3 talks about what happened to this anti-vigilante task force initiative. Obviously it's been disbanded and they seem to have gone the other way because they're now giving keys to the city to vigilantes at like big ceremonies.
I mean, you got to ride the wave. Do you remember the end of Daredevil season 2
Yeah,
with Fisk?
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was
It's
the
like a
telltale.
yeah.
You got to ride the wave where the sentiment is, and after that image of Fisk just killing people,
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's true.
they just had to say do an about face and to try to get public sentiment back on their side. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the politicians. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't surprising to see that to me, given how Daredevil season, um, this season of Daredevil ended.
Yeah, and obviously one of the quote unquote cuddliest superheroes in New York. I don't see them giving the key to the city to Frank Castle, for example.
Right, right. No, Frank could never get the key to the city. A key to
He
the
doesn't want
morgue.
it either. Okay,
Give him a key to the
he just
morgue.
wants Karen.
Oh my gosh. Frank is never getting the key to the city. No, no, no. All right. So let's move on. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we have Spidey stops a rampaging tank with help from Frank Castle. Was Frank really helpful? I'm just throwing it out there. But anyway, an out of control tank is making its way towards the Department of Damage Control's New York City headquarters. Frank tries to stop it in his way, but Spidey isn't having it, knocking Frank out of the chase with webs on his potty mouth. Spidey catches the tank after it crashes.
PG-13. Sorry.
After it crashes into the DODC building and finds a woman at the wheel who immediately becomes confused as to where she is. Spidey realizes that something is moving from person to person and gives chase, and finally catches up on a roof when it's apparent that whatever is doing this is trying to free Scorpion, Mark Gargan, who's in a helicopter. It speaks to Spidey via a guard, but finds out that Spider-Man's mind can't be broken into.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think his mind blocks that? Is it Spidey sense related? Like,
I had two things. I thought it was maybe the Spidey sense, his own mutation from the Spider-Man bite, from the spider bite. Then I also thought maybe it was Doctor Strange's spell casting, some sort of block for anyone to try to see Peter Parker, who was around during the time of the spell.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
There was also that thing where at one point Doctor Strange was trying to take something. He pushed, astral pushed Peter out of his body.
Yes.
And was trying to take something from him, and the arm of the body was moving on its own. He's like, that shouldn't be able to happen.
Be happening, right? And so maybe it's something unique to the spider bite, but they haven't explained it, and I don't think I found an explanation to Spider-Man being unable to be controlled telepathically.
Hopefully they'll dig into it more, assuming there will be more telepathic storytelling. I have to give a shout out to the many extras or day players who played the Inhabited, is what they called them. The people who, basically we can say now it's Jean Grey. Jean Grey was jumping between them, and they had to do, first of all, this almost sort of dance movement.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
It was like a choreographed dance, so we could just follow where the jumps were happening to, and the bodies would jerk smoothly forward, and then as the spirit leaped from one to the next. Yeah, it was, and then just all the looks. I loved how she was kind of taunting him, and because it turns out she wanted him to follow her. But yeah, just having these random people look back. That must have been
that was cool.
Kind of fun to play, I would imagine.
That was cool. So what do you think of the DODC? We first saw them. We saw them where did we first see them? In Ms. Marvel?
I guess so.
Ms. Marvel?
Well, yeah, definitely there. And then Wonder Man. So yeah, I forgot. I was like, why wasn't Agent Cleary in this movie? But then I'm like, of course, he was moved to LA. And that's why he was in Wonder Man earlier this year. So okay, he's in LA now. But it's obviously we've seen nothing good from them.
At all.
So of course, immediately I'm like, Peter, don't trust these people. And then we see that he's quote unquote tamed the hand. I'm like, oh, okay, that's going to go well ultimately, I'm sure. And then it's like, okay, we are trying to copy the tech of the various villains that we arrest. And on the one hand, it makes a certain kind of sense that you would want to do that. Why wouldn't you want to learn from your enemies, so to speak? But on the other hand, as soon as they scanned Peter's body, I was like, uh-oh. I don't know. I don't think I like whatever you might do with that information.
Don't like this at all. Remember, I called out the Department of Damage Control from Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, they were bad news bears. Of course they were. They were terrible. Racist there, too.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. And it was seeing Metzger, who was the head of the department. He just seems he just seems shady.
Well, so I even though he plays a questionable character in Severance, but Tremwell Tillman has such a compelling screen presence that like I wanted to like his character here.
Nah,
But as
no,
soon as he
no,
walked on
no.
screen, he's like, he doesn't have to take off. Well, first of all, the fact that they were going to shoot the man and if he didn't take off his mask, like option one should be you can just leave. But yeah, but then so he pops in and it's immediately I'm like, that is one fake ass smile. I don't trust
Fake.
a
It's
single
fake.
thing that comes out of this man's mouth.
And I was kind of low key upset at Peter for not seeing it, because he's been around the block. His mind hasn't been erased. So he's seen a lot of different things. He even had the experience with Mysterio. So I think that's a byproduct of him being alone is he's looking for connection anywhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he I, I was questioning why he was cozying up to damage control.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his spidey senses didn't tingle
I
around
know.
Metzger,
But it was also as his spider sense. I found it strange that as his spider sense was kicking in more, he became less aware of Jean Grey and the various bodies. And I'm very curious, why would that be? Is it because it's actually we're giving too much credit to the spider sense, and it's actually his human intuition?
Huh, maybe. Interesting.
But yeah, it was like a bit, Peter, you're being a bit too naive and living on your own the past few years. I don't think you should be this naive.
Yeah. Just, for I was just like, dude, everything that you've gone through, how could you trust this guy? You went through the Civil War. You were there. You know what I mean? You were there, trying to get the Sokovia Accords, to track people with powers. You
Right.
saw the result of that.
Yeah.
So, and the thing that I came back with was that loneliness and being on your own leads people to make choices that if they have support that maybe they wouldn't normally make. If you
That's
have
fair.
somebody to bounce your ideas off of, somebody who you trust, they can give you a different way of looking at a situation. And this is what made the movie, one of the aspects of the movie that was so compelling is that, I just felt like he was trying to connect wherever he could. And you can't really connect because you're both Peter and you're Spider-Man. And how do you, be true to someone when you're keeping part of yourself away from them at all times?
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm at. And I thought the tank chase down the street was really cool. The way that he, slung into Frank's truck and drop kicked them out of the truck. I really appreciated that they showed how strong Spider-Man can be. Like a lot of times people don't think of Spider-Man as being, really strong. And if he doesn't, hold back, he caused a lot of damage to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know?
And I love an odd couple team up. And I think that Spider-Man and Punisher is a great one. Obviously, it has comics precedence, but also just the fact that apparently Tom Holland and John Bernthal are friends in real life. They've done a lot of movies together and like they famously helped each other audition for the MCU. So yeah, that it came across on screen. You felt that genuine warmth between them, even though Frank is typically such a prickly dude. But he is a prickly dude, and this is why I'm a Frank defender. He is a prickly dude who shows his soft belly to the right people.
Let me ask you a question. If you were a comic book person, right, as you are now,
Just
And
a regular person.
yeah, just a regular comic book person. You read comic books, you know about superheroes, you have
Okay.
a knowledge of all of
Oh,
these
so not living
characters.
in, but just, okay,
No,
fan of.
you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the knowledge of all of these things, right? You never heard of this movie. You never spoke to anyone about this movie. Didn't read about the movie, nothing at all. And you're sitting there and the mind swaps start happening. Do you say to yourself, telepath?
The jumping from body to body.
Yes. Yes.
You know what it kind of, I mean, the thing is, I know a lot of stories that do have this whole jumping from body to body. Like, what was the one again? Was it with Denzel Washington with the song
Fallen.
Time? Yeah, that one.
Fallen. Yeah.
That was the first one I thought of. And there's definitely other ones. So, yeah, just based on, I have seen the similar stories, but I wouldn't have guessed Jean Grey per se,
Okay.
because I haven't read every Jean Grey comic, but she is
Yes.
one of my favorite X-Men. But this to me is a new way of using her powers, and maybe there is precedence. I'm not sure.
Totally agree. If we didn't know all the rumors and all the speculation and everything out there, I am hard pressed to believe that anyone sitting in the theater at the moment that the mind swaps are happening immediately picks up that it's Jean Grey. I think it's a brilliant way to show her powers in a way that we really haven't seen before on screen.
Yeah. And I like that they established that 33-foot rule thing. We'll come back to that, but yeah. And I don't mind the shortcut of like, I have an AI that can calculate the jumps because people are doing these dramatic dances when she jumps. So it's like, that's fine. That works.
It made sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our next one. Can a Spider-Man mutate? So we get Peter crashes MJ and Ned's party because he sees Ned's on the street and he follows him.
Mm-hmm.
Ned and MJ are having a party at their apartment, and Peter brings some flowers and he's looking around, reminiscing. And he sees MJ kiss her mysteriously unnamed boyfriend.
Conspicuously unnamed.
He returns home, and before you know it, his spider powers are going haywire. He shoots organic webs from his wrist, passes out, and wakes up in a cocoon of webbing. He sneaks back down inside of his apartment, gets on the elevator wearing his neighbor's Juicy Couture jumpsuit, and tries to figure out what is going on. When the Mind Jumper strikes again, using Scorpion, Spidey nearly kills him with his newly heightened senses, strength, and aggression. He badly injures a cop, and the wolf tells him to take a break and get his act together. So what does he do? He starts to science the shit out of the situation. He talks to Professor Banner, yes, that Professor Banner, then creates an inhibitor chip that will turn off these new mutations of his. Meanwhile, the Mind Jumper has found out his secret identity, finds his apartment, and the letter that he wrote to MJ all those years ago at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, telling her of race history and of their love. MJ is threatened, so Spidey races to try to protect her. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, this was there was a lot here, and I got distracted by, so Iman Esfandi is playing, just credited in the credits also,
The boyfriend.
as the boyfriend, who's, anyone else doesn't realize he also plays Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka.
Star Wars, Ahsoka, yes.
Mm-hmm. Star Wars, Ahsoka, yeah. And so, okay, we have to dig into this real quick first.
Go ahead.
I am stuck on the idea, the fact that he's so, and he was also like, I expected him to be in more than that scene, but no, he's brought up other times, but he doesn't show up again at any other points. And I'm like, this is definitely a character that's coming back. are we going to find out his name's Harry?
Oh man, I hope not.
Why? Would you want to explain who Harry is for anyone who didn't get that?
Harry Osborn is the son of Norman Osborn, Spider-Man's best friend, Peter Parker's best friend, who eventually becomes a villain because he thinks that Spider-Man kills his father.
Right. So Willem Dafoe. So the James, what's his face, Franco character from the old movies.
So, I don't know if I want to see a Harry and Peter thing again so soon.
Okay.
Like, I kind of like how they've done this version of the Spider-Man in the MCU as having like a different cast of characters around him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to explore those different cast of characters without the background that we get. So I'm hoping it's not Harry Osborn.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't mind it personally. Mm-hmm. I think that it would be good casting, but I'm trying to, like, who else could it be? Could it be like Eddie Brock or something? Because we saw the only Eddie Brock we saw was from a different universe. So, right. And we know that, variants can look wildly different in this multiverse.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I'd have to give it a lot more thought about who it could be.
They just made me suspicious by not saying anything.
No, it definitely, I think your instincts are right that it's probably Harry, but for me, I kind of just want a different character. Give me somebody brand new. Okay. Introduce some other thing into Peter's life.
Okay. Well, can I also ask you about, do you think they paid a lot of attention to Peter's neighbor, the one he stole the Juicy Couture jumpsuit from? Because also at a point before that, she's like, oh, you live on the same floor as me? Like, she's interested and he's not having it. But it made me wonder if this, and also unnamed, made me wonder if she might turn out to be one of Peter's short-lived girlfriends from the comics.
But the first interaction definitely made me feel like they might be potentially having this person being set up for future references. But I mean, it's Matt and Elektra and it's Peter and MJ. It's Bruce and Selena. It's Clark and Lois. You know what I mean? So
no, I think that's why I say short-lived girlfriends, because I mean, obviously MJ's with someone else right now. It would be kind of good for Peter to allow someone into his life, but I do assume MJ's endgame.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll even see that, quite honestly. Like Peter in a different relationship, unless it's somebody like Gwen or somebody like Black Cat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll see.
That people with like really established kind of relationships outside of MJ, who, they haven't been together in the comics for damn near 20 years. So there's precedent to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but especially since the actors are married in real life. It's
right.
I mean, obviously, I think they should be endgame and stuff, but I think that it would make sense, especially if with the way she left things. It's like, I don't even remember you, dude. But thanks.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't mind it if it was somebody that, like, again, like Black Cat or a Gwen Stacy or something like that. I wouldn't mind it. But I don't think I want to see like short-lived romances with Peter Parker.
Okay. I mean, sometimes you need a rebound, right?
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Here's the big question. Is Peter talking about mutations? Is he officially a mutant?
Yeah, I knew he was going to ask that question. No, he's not. A mutant is, as in my understanding of it, is you have the genetic capability from birth.
So he's a mutate.
it's not it's not something that's introduced into your system. It's something that's already inherent to your biology.
Okay.
So no, he's not a mutant.
Okay. Okay. I did expect like some more man spiderness also because I fairly recently rewatched the first season of the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. And they, yeah, that's in that there's, was it the first or second season? Anyway, they have like the comic book storyline with where he goes through something similar, but then ends up actually growing extra arms as well. But I guess they decided not to go
Yeah,
there.
I don't think they were going to do that. I don't think they were going to do that. I don't think they were going to give Spidey Man like real Spidey situations.
We did get something to that effect, the most horrifying version thereof in Spider Noir.
Yes, that's true. That's right. That's right. I remember that. You're right. But that was on Amazon Prime. Yeah, they wasn't going to do that on the big screen. No.
Yeah, that's another one that I think it's fantastic. But, you know, when I was saying this is a very typical comic book thing, that is doing something different, slightly different flavor. And this is like the more classic variety. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just have to bring up, just because I keep seeing people ask about it, and me and a bunch of others, it seems, online all agree that the way this, people were wondering, and I was wondering about it at first too, how Jean Grey got into Mary Jane's body, MJ's body from the helicopter pilot. But what was pointed out to me that I realized is that she can only jump 33 feet between two other people, but at any time she can retract into her own body. So she must have had her own body probably standing right outside MJ's door. And as soon as like he's distracted with the pilot, she's just like, knock, knock, knock.
Yes.
Boom, I'm in you.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I have to ask you, well, a not so serious question and then a very important question about the fate of the universe.
No pressure.
No pressure. One thing that I got stuck on when I was watching the most was when a character who was called Cindy. So is this Cindy Moon, by the way, a recast version thereof that we saw? Who's Cindy Moon?
She's another Spider person. Goes by the name of Silk. Really, over the last 10 years, I think she was introduced, 10, 15 years. Might be even less than that. And she was, basically, there's a Spider-Man comic book where there are these beings that go after what they call totems. So people or beings or superpowered individuals that take the monikers of animals. So the spider totem they were hunting. Cindy Moon happened to be a person that they were hunting, and she was kept isolated in a bunker for many, 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 many years to hide her from the baddies that were trying to consume her life essence. It's one of the major Spider-Man stories of the last 15 years. I'll get the Spider-Man comic books so folks can find it out. But yeah, that's who she is. So she has a long, recent history in Spider-Man lore.
And so she did, in Homecoming, there was a character named Cindy Moon, and the same actress played also briefly in Infinity War, but now it's a different actress in it. And she was just called, so I don't know if we're supposed to take something from that, but she does look exactly the same. And it's, if you put an Asian actress in a Spider-Man movie and call her Cindy, minds are going to jump to places. I might not be Jean Grey, but minds are going to jump.
You have to think it was done intentionally because they only called out her name in the classroom, right?
Right.
No one else was called.
Right.
So it has to be intentional.
And she asked the question, why didn't Thanos use his snap to create more food instead? Which is obviously like, speaking to the fans online. And then he just got someone else to say Hulk smash, which is just a way of dismissing the question. But I got up in arms about it. I'm like, well, first of all, because it wouldn't work. So, I mean, okay. So when Thanos snaps and, halves the population, people point out that the population would quickly rebound. And I agree. That was not the way to do it. But if you just, first of all, food shortage is not our problem. Food distribution is the problem in our world. So creating more food not only is attempting to solve a problem that doesn't exist and not solving the actual problem standing in the way, but also it's ignoring the fact that overpopulation is one of like the biggest things that we see playing out in our world right now is mineral resource shortages, like the minerals that we want to put in all of our smartphones and gadgets and stuff. That is what a lot of the global conflict right now really comes down to. That's why some people want to see if they can drill it out of Greenland, for instance. So it doesn't solve the problems like that. So I was just thinking, I've actually put way too much thought into this, but let me ask you, what do we think Thanos should have used the snap to do instead of having the population?
Nothing. I think he did exactly what he needed to do.
I'm going to disagree for the reasons I said, but I've been thinking about it, and like at first I was like, maybe what if like they just made people smarter, but I don't know that that's really the problem. And I landed on I would snap so that everyone had a certain minimum amount of empathy. We don't want to overload the people who are already empaths, but like, if you have a certain minimum amount of empathy, I think that would that would create more of the cooperation that would overcome these resource distribution problems.
Okay. All right. I say snap half the universe, call it a day.
What if it's you? What if it's your son? What if it's not you and it is your son?
For everyone who's listening, this is why Elysia does the big brain potato stuff and I do the small brain potato stuff. And with that, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back to talk about more Spider-Man big brain potato stuff.
Okay, Yelena.
Okay, so we're back. And I keep bringing up big brain potato stuff. We haven't even called out, Elena, who is the current Black Widow. Don't at me. Don't come for me. This is just the facts. Red Room, Black Widows, that's what they are. Just hold your horses, and just be easy.
What, people could be upset about calling her Black Widow?
Yes, just
that's her superhero.
She's Black Widow. Yes, please. So, what did you think about Yelena in this film? Before we even get to our next convo, I just want to ask you, what did you think of Yelena?
I mean, it's always delightful when she shows up. She's never used enough. Of course, and you're making the references to the big potato, small potatoes thing. And it's sometimes like a lot of nerds like us or actually angrier nerds than us, I would say, need that casual explanation for like, why isn't because reportedly Spider-Man's not going to be in Doomsday. I do actually believe that because I think Doomsday has too many characters in it already. Not too many, but you know what I mean. It's you don't want it to be more overstuffed than it is. But also Tom Holland obviously has a busy shooting schedule. He's in like everything these days. So so it makes sense to me that for logistical reasons, he would sit out Doomsday. A line like that makes it make more sense for, in-universe reasons. That and the credit scene where potentially he's in space.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, no, it was great to see her show up. I love that the way like she can deliver a line like that, but just like everything she does is charming. I loved her and Miss Marvel when, oh no, sorry, it was what's it, Hawkeye, when she
Oh
showed
yes,
up,
with Kate
yeah,
Bishop.
with
Yes.
Kate Bishop and the macaroni and cheese. And so
Yes.
her username in this movie, what was it? Was like mac and cheese lover or
Mac and
something.
cheese lover.
So I love those callbacks, just her entire personality, the fact that she makes people meet her in a spa so that they have to like disrobe and so that she feels like they can't be hiding weapons. I think that's brilliant. I did worry for her poor laptop and all that steam, but it was so fun to see her. I did wonder, like, when they reached the climax. Obviously, she explained why the new Avengers wouldn't be involved, but when they reached the climax, I had to think a lot about Sentry and that the whole climax of Thunderbolts and whether like they were having a sort of flashback in a way.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. What did you
Okay.
think of her, the way she was used here?
I thought it was just right. This is what I mean, the characters that show up, but they in support of Peter, and I think this was a prime example of that. Um, she didn't the banter that she has with different heroes is just great.
Mm-hmm.
And so shout out to the writing team because I think they really have hit on something with Florence Pugh's portrayal of this character. Because every scene that she's in and when she's talking to other heroes or whoever, it's, it can be serious, but most of the time it's just damn funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like she brings something else to the movies that she's in, the scenes that she's in. And I really want to see more of the character on screen interacting with all these other, players.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this was really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's get back to the Spidey movie. Frank Castle to the rescue. Peter swings over to MJ, convinces her that she's in danger and she needs to come with Spider-Man so she can be safe. He brings her to Frank's secret hideout and they meet each other like only real friends can do. And Frank tells Peter, what does he tell Peter? What does he tell Peter?
Oh, you bet I thought of you in the theater when he told him to kick rocks.
Kick rocks. when when you're seen, Elysia, when you feel seen and loved by the universe, this is one of those moments for me. I felt seen and loved by the universe. Hearing Frank Castle just say to Spider-Man, kick rocks. It was amazing. What a feeling. Okay. Frank promises to protect MJ, and Peter goes to find a telepath with an inhibitor chip in his pocket to stop him. He's back at the DODC, and Frank is there to help his friend out after being convinced by MJ that maybe, you should go and help your friend. The telepath, who we now know is Jean Grey, thanks to Yelena doing some digging, controls Smart Hulk. Who saw that coming? Not me, but eventually the other guy. You know who the other guy is. The other guy takes over and they fight with Banner Hulk, seeing something in Peter and just says, you know what? I don't want to hurt Spider-Man. And he stops fighting him. Peter gets the chip on Jean, who whispers Sarah before passing out. And it's all smiles with the DODC head, Bill Metzger. He heads back to Frank's place and sees MJ reading his note and comes clean. But she doesn't remember anything. Nothing at all. And he brings her back home.
I like that he was clever enough. As soon as he's like, "Oh, you don't remember anything from being possessed?" Then Metzger must be full of shit when he said he remembers her getting something from his mind or something.
Yes.
Metzger. Okay, so like I've said before, I'm not as familiar with the Spider
Mhm.
verse comics. I definitely recent releases have made me more interested in doing so, but I don't know characters like Metzger, so I didn't realize that he was a known villain in the comics until afterwards.
But he's a known anti-mutant.
Specifically, yeah.
Specifically, he's a human being who hates mutants.
And now Peter has given him a universal inhibitor chip.
That's what Peter has given him. So Dr. Banner helps Peter realize how to stop the mutations because of the risk. What's the inhibitor that Banner wears to control his own aggression so he doesn't turn into the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So Peter sciences the shit out of it, gets a chip to control his mRNA with the spider mutation so he can be baseline Spider-Man and not overly aggressive Spider-Man. He figures out a way to do that for everyone with powers.
But then,
not good.
Yeah, but the thing is with he's like trying to trim down his powers to the older variety, so to speak, because he still has like the super strength.
He wants to be
stuff.
Baseline Spider-Man.
But with others, they just kind of turn off the powers.
Yeah, he turns off everybody else's powers.
Yeah. And this is obviously, as soon as I see this happening, I'm thinking about, because the comics that I do read a lot of are X-Men comics. And
yes.
This is a theme that comes up again and again with with some version of these
inhibitor collars.
Right?
We don't see chips. We most often see collars when we're dealing with the X-Men.
Yeah. So I was wondering if this is like, first, okay, of course, he and Jean end up with like a sort of understanding and a mutual kindness and part ways at the end of this movie. But I can just see him being the inventor of this technology that's obviously about to be used against the emerging mutants in this universe.
So obvious.
I know.
Again, Metzger in the comics is a mutant hater.
Yeah.
He's a bigot who wants to eliminate mutants from the face of the earth. So
I know we're getting like the X-Men versus Avengers with the classic, Foxmen versus the Avengers that we've had. But I'm wondering if this is setting up a future next generation X-Men versus Avengers conflict with, one side led by Jean Grey, and we'll talk about castings later, but and the other side.
I think so.
With
it may not be directly X-Men versus Avengers, but I think they're setting up a universe post Secret Wars where the X-Men are fighting against this very inhibitor chip technology that's been introduced in this movie.
Yeah. Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
And what do we think happened with the Hulk? He was carted off it said on the news, to a mental hospital, but do we believe that for a second?
No, absolutely not. I think they put him on the raft.
Yeah, could be. Because there's a bunch of interesting heroes there that actually I'd like to see him with.
Yeah, but I definitely think they put him on the raft.
I think, wasn't it confirmed that we won't see him in Doomsday, but we will see, quote unquote, lots of Hulks in Secret Wars?
In Secret Wars. Was it confirmed? Not in Doomsday?
Huh. I mean, they can say things also, and we don't know if we believe them. But as I said, they do have a rather stacked cast already for Doomsday. They don't need to shove more characters in there.
Right. What did you think about the fight sequence? Because this is what I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
That I think is a top 5 fight sequence in Marvel cinema history. Specifically when Spidey is pulling Frank on the floor and Frank is looking up at Hulk and just letting off all the shots at Hulk. Bah, 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 yeah! And I think that was such an amazing shot.
I thought that was so cool, like a shot from the camera. But I was also, as it was happening, I was like, "Oh, Frank, honey, that's not going to do anything."
Yeah, exactly. Because we knew it's not going to do anything, but it's Frank. That's all he can
But it
do.
looked cool as
You know?
hell.
But that was an amazing shot. I thought the whole sequence, it brought back memories of Avengers when Hulk is on the helicarrier chasing Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the scary, almost horror vibes when he's, you know, chasing Spider-Man in the hallway and you don't know where he's at, and all of a sudden he's right there like Jason Voorhees, you know. And so it was really a well done sequence with that fight scene between Spider-Man and Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay, here's a question for you as the comic book nerd. Would you consider this version of Hulk that we had there Savage Hulk?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what makes him Savage Hulk? That he's just bigger and stronger?
He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's not thinking in the ways that, you know, Professor Hulk would think that we've seen. Right. So not only is the anger more pronounced, but the anger is at the forefront of everything that he does. If that makes sense. There's no, it's just reacting to the anger and wanting to get away from the people who are making me mad. You know what I mean? So yes, I think this is Savage Hulk.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so curious.
You don't think so?
No. I agree. I know people expected him to be grayer. I don't know that he was that gray, but also again, I didn't get to see it on the fancy screen. I saw it on.
Yeah, I don't think. I think, you know, people, because the original Hulk was gray in the comic books, but wasn't as big, as tall, you know, wasn't as powerful as later incarnations of the character. So I think this character is much more in tune with what you believe Hulk can be. Let's say Hulk from the first two movies that came out. The Hulk movie, who did the Hulk movie? Was it Ang Lee?
Yeah, Ang Lee did not the MCU Hulk movie, but the other one. Yeah,
the other one. Much in that vein. You know,
the Eric Bana one. Yeah.
Yes. And even to a degree, the second Hulk, the first MCU Hulk movie.
Edward Norton, yeah.
So you can see the similarities between those Hulks more than you can see the similarities between the original Hulk from the comic books.
Okay.
Like, to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I do wonder, because the thing is they didn't get to do a lot of the Hulk stories that people want to see yet because of the rights issues, basically because the Hulk rights were held by Universal for the longest time. So part of me, if they're keeping some people from the old guard, and I think they will, I could see that being one that they do keep just to be able to do more of that. And I know we got some teases of it, for instance, with Thor Ragnarok and stuff, but and I think this is like, people are constantly making fun of Scar. When he shows up in She-Hulk and is like, "Oh, by the way, this is my off-planet son," and I think it's such a shame. I don't have a problem with Scar showing up. Yeah, his hair looks stupid. That's fine. That can be fixed. But I just think it's such a shame that we didn't get to see that whole story. Like, you show up with an adult son, like, at least give us something, you know, don't just shove this character in there. Give us that story. And
it's such a great story. To your point, you know, it's such a great story. World War Hulk, and just, yeah. And I think you're right. You know, they shortchanged us on telling that story.
Yeah. So I do hope, with this promise of many Hulks, I hope that it's not just like, oh, look, now we've had a Hulk off, moving on. And obviously I could see them like doing a new Hulk with like an Amadeus Cho or something sort of situation. But I hope that they do actually first dip into more of these classic stories in a more satisfying way first.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? When did you cry?
Oh, not yet. We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right.
But I did love his bonding time with Ned. That was really nice. Like when he brings MJ back and she's like, "Do you want to come upstairs and see Ned?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then, well, first of all, it was funny. You know, we saw this in the trailers too, but where Ned's like, "My Spidey tracker says he's right." Whoa. And then just like seeing them play games together and talk about Lord of the Rings together and just like the easy camaraderie between them. And you see MJ soften too and be in, like, she believes it. Like, she doesn't know it, but she believes it. It's interesting. I was thinking this whole thing with MJ and like knowing things intellectually happened, but not remembering them is an interesting kind of conversation with this season of Silo. And I'll just leave it at that for spoiler reasons. But
I can see that.
Yeah, so it just had me like that difference between really remembering something or knowing something to be true, but having an emotional distance from it. And in that sense, like that was kind of what broke my heart. Like Ned does not have that emotional distance. He, as we saw at the very end, deep down, he remembers this friend.
Yes.
There's like some muscle memory in there when they do their handshake at the end, and he really remembers him. MJ, though, she's like, "I believe you. I believe everything you're saying is true, but it just doesn't mean anything to me deep down." And that was so heartbreaking to me. So I was glad that at least he and Ned get to be together again after this.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then we get Peter learns the lesson that not everyone can be trusted. So after, like you said, she invites Peter up to their apartment after he brings her home. And Ned is there. And who's next to Ned? But Spider-Man. And Ned is the creator of the Spider Tracker. So he is all in on trying to find out who is Spider-Man and who was his number one. He had a board and Ned said his number one suspect was none other than
Flash. No, the guy who released what was the book? It was like My Life is the Best Friend of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Something like that. No, you're not.
And then Peter, with help from Yelena, learns that Sarah was Jean's sister who was taken and disappeared by his friend Metzger and the DODC. He realizes that Metzger lied to him about remembering Jean being in his mind because no one remembers anything from after she takes control. Peter goes to the holding facility and fights the Hand, Metzger's hand-picked security. While this is happening, Jean realizes that what her sister said to her telepathically, VMAX, was the air vent label on the ceiling in the holding room, the last thing her sister saw before dying. Jean breaks free. She also has telekinesis powers and brings Metzger to her, shards of broken glass at his face. Peter goes to her and lets her into his mind, and she sees his loss, sees his pain. Frank, thinking that the only way to help is his way, shoots to kill Jean, but Peter senses it and takes the bullet instead.
So this whole sequence was what made me cry.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there was even MJ cried, like, because then, when she found out that her sister was killed, and it's just like that was unexpectedly brutal. How did your son? Did he clock?
This is when
that?
he cried.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is when he cried. Not with the reveal of Sarah's death, but the lead up to Peter being shot is when he started. And then when Peter was shot, it was over. And that was really him. And because he leaned in next to me and he's like, "Is he going to shoot him, Papa? Is he going to shoot him? What's Frank going to do? What's Frank going to do?" And I said, "You know what Frank does." He's like, "But who is he going to shoot, Papa? He better not shoot Peter. He's going to shoot Peter. And he's going to shoot Peter, Papa. He's going to shoot Peter. He's going to shoot Peter." And then it was Peter that was shot, and it was over. It was over. So this is, I think, the emotional heart of this film is here.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, the moment was especially, I mean, yeah, it was like just realizing the brutality of that that he tortured Sarah to
Yes,
death.
the death.
Um,
Yeah.
that was one thing. But then what really hit me was this talk from Aunt May.
Yeah.
So Aunt May, she's talking to Peter, but then, since Jean is in his place in his mind, it's like she's talking to Jean at the same time, and it applies equally to them both. And she says, "You're a really special person, and I would hope that that will always make you feel really great about yourself. But I know sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you'll be really lonely. And sometimes, because you're special, people can do dark, monstrous things to you. This is what I want you to know. You're beautiful. And the people who love you, we love you not because you're special, love you because you're you. I want you to remember that. Even when it feels like you're totally alone, that's your deepest responsibility. Never forget that, no matter how powerful you become." And just a few things like, obviously, the use of the word responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. And this is sort of saying like your responsibility is to keep yourself tethered to humanity,
I
basically.
love that. I love that because we get that, like you said, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's always more so to others than it is to yourself, right? Like you have to take care of, with the power that you're given, you have to take care of the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do for the people around you, do because you can save people, you can affect people's lives. So that's the power that you hold. That's the responsibility that you have. But here it's like, you have to be okay. You have to be okay.
But it's,
That's,
yeah.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, just the part especially that really spoke to me was just, I think that humans have a tendency to jump to jealousy so quickly that they
Mm,
don't realize that it is lonely for people who are told they're special in one way or another. They're told they're special because they're different from other people. They're told they're special because they have a particular talent, whether it's running or math scores or whatever. Um, and when someone is told they're special publicly, it often makes them a target of everybody else. And I was like having flashbacks to a company retreat with a psychologist that we did, where we had to do all these tests and then talk about our test scores in front of everyone. And I got like pinned in front of the group, and my um, they're showing my scores on certain tests and saying like, "Why don't you tell people things like that you're smart?" Um, and I just like, and I know this was meant to be a sort of positive confrontational thing where, just like promote yourself more. But I also knew as soon as that got out to the rest of the company, I was going to become a target.
mm,
And that's absolutely what
what
happened.
happened?
That
Mm.
some people just start lashing out at you because they're like, "Oh, you think you're so special now." Like, "Oh, no, no, no." This is why it's always like, so you just end up hiding yourself more and leaning away from your strengths because you just don't want people to hate you for it and treat you badly for it, and get in your way and prevent you from doing the things you want. So yeah, this made me bawl.
No, I get it. I get it. That's yeah, what a shit company.
It's just, I mean, I think it's common. And I think that, yeah, they're
Yeah,
speaking to a lot of people with that. And it can
yeah.
be for so many different things, anytime that you're singled out. Um, yeah, you want to be celebrated. You want to think that people are celebrated, but often it does make people a target, and it does make things lonely. It does make you lonelier.
And I think that's, this scene when I spoke to E, we talked about the movie or whatever. What my better half and I are always trying to do is let him know that he has to find his people. You know, once you find your people, they will care for you no matter what. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think this is for a 10-year-old to see that on screen, I think is really a great thing, because that's what she's basically telling him. The people who love you will always love you. They're not going to love you because you're Spider-Man. They're not going to love you because you can swing and you have spidey senses. They're just going to love you because they love you, because of who you are, you know? And your people will love you. And we have to, in life, find our people, the ones that make us complete, you know? That you're not competing with each other, that you're not pulling each other down, that you are lifting each other up. And when you don't have your people, it's fucking terrible, man.
People together, strong. Sorry, that's a Planet of the Apes reference.
When you don't have that, it's really tough. And this is what the movie is saying, to me at least, is that Peter doesn't have his people around him. And the less he has his people around him, the harder things are.
Yeah. So I'm glad at the end of this, he and MJ may not be back together. And I don't think they will be in the next movie. I think they will be in the third movie. It's my prediction. But I'm glad that he has Frank. I'm glad that he has Ned back.
Yes.
And I'm glad that he has DeWolf. Yeah.
You know, and they all, even because up until this point, Frank had never seen Peter Parker.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Frank has Peter too, to be honest, because he also needs...
Frank needs Peter. Yeah. And so it was, this was a great, great, great sequence in this film. And I loved how Jean's extra powers kicked in the moment, you know, when she was totally unexpected, and she was mad and she was angry and she was sad and she was feeling the pain of the loss of what these people did. And then boom, I got this too. You know, I have this other thing that makes me really dangerous and really powerful. And how she just ripped the doors open to the room and pulled Metzger in on his chair. That's a great scene. Yeah. Just pulled him to her and had the broken shards of glass. Like, I could kill you at any moment, you know, for what you did to my sister.
And I know people are saying now, like, oh, this is too dark of a Jean Grey. And I'm like, no, to be honest, the on-screen portrayals we've had thus far have not been dark enough. And that's a big reason why they've tried, I guess they've tried like 3 times now to do the Dark Phoenix story. And X-Men, the original animated series, is the most successful at it. The 2 live-action attempts at it, both abject failures. But it's because they were trying to deny this character her complexity. And so I love that we're starting from a place that shows she's operating from a place of hurt. She's not a bad person. She doesn't want to hurt people. In the end, you know, she saves Peter right back after he saves her. And you know, she doesn't, for the most part, I don't think, someone pointed out the guy who she walked back into traffic, that he was sitting around at the end. I don't know if that's reusing an extra or if we're supposed to understand he survived. But if he survived, then she didn't kill anyone that we saw. Peter, what do we think happened to that helicopter pilot after the webs went away? So he might have a higher death count in this film.
You know, I didn't give it a second thought. Sorry, Mr. Helicopter Pilot.
Red shirt number 1.
Somebody will get to you. Somebody will get you down, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure somebody, he said someone, I'm sure.
You know, interestingly enough, I didn't think this was a dark portrayal of Jean. You know, I never felt that watching the movie. I didn't feel like this. Yeah, so I'm surprised that, you know, people are saying so, that it was too dark of a portrayal, because I didn't feel it was dark at all.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it's complex. It's not like this Hollywood sanitized, oh, she's just a sweet little girl.
Yeah.
she's a real. She feels like a real person who has gone through hurts
absolutely.
and would do anything to save her sister. And yeah,
You saw that she didn't have a great childhood from once her mutation, came out.
Rejected by her mother,
on the run with her sister. Like I didn't find anything particularly dark about this character.
No,
I found this character to be hurt and in pain, but I didn't see something like
she wasn't cruel or anything.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't feel that. Except this time there. Yeah, you go ahead.
When she inhabited Mary Jane and had her kiss Peter, and then that's a little.
That was cruel.
That's a little non-consensual. Let's just say like that.
That was cruel.
That's a little double non-consensual.
That was cruel. The teenagers in the back of me started crying at the moment that it was revealed that wasn't actually MJ. They were bawling. They were in absolute tears behind me. And so, but that definitely was cruel. I will say that.
Yeah.
All right, so we take a break before we get to our finale. All right, so now we love you, Spider-Man. We really do. Frank rushes Spidey through the hospital waiting area and they operate to save his life. Frank stays by his side to protect his identity. Spidey recovers and has a heart-to-heart with Frank. Best friends for life. Frank tells Spidey that Jean kept him alive so they could get him to the hospital. Frank puts on the Spidey mask and stands by the window so the people can see him, while Peter Parker can just walk out of the hospital and into the crowd where he sees how much of an impact emotionally Spider-Man has on the people of New York City. We learn that Metzger has escaped, that Jean is on a road trip somewhere with lots of trees. Hudson Valley, perhaps?
Looking very upstate New York.
And Peter goes to Aunt May's grave, says he will stop trying to do everything by himself. He sees Ned in a coffee shop, goes up to him, and they do their handshake. And Ned looks up. Best friends for life.
So I thought this was a very satisfying end. We talked a lot about the Frank stuff. I can't wait to see, because Frank is a different person with Peter, which makes sense.
Yes.
But I want to see, and so we've also seen Peter interact with not Daredevil, but with Matt Murdock, who was his lawyer in a previous film. And obviously Matt Murdock's in jail right now. That's not a plot hole that he's not in this film. It makes sense. But I want to see the three of them together. And who is Frank when the three of them are together? Can he hold on to that softness when Daredevil enters the room?
No. Matt is like a well of darkness. He just pulls you in with all the Catholic guilt that he has. He just pulls you in.
So speaking of like those original Netflix series, I was really disappointed to learn, Rosario Dawson said this at Comic-Con, that her character that she played in all those Netflix shows, Claire Temple, aka Night Nurse, she was going to be in this film, but her scene was cut. So I'm presuming that that's how they got, like, that Frank brought her there because she was working in the hospital, and that's how they got like a private room and all that. And honest, I know it was a long film, but we could have had 5 more minutes with Night Nurse. I didn't feel that long to me. I would have sat there 5 more minutes.
I agree. I was really pissed to learn that they cut her scenes out. Like, why would you do that? Like, oh my gosh, this is that's such a win to have her in the movie, even for 2-3 minutes. I thought that was, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they were worried about like explaining it to people who didn't watch the Netflix shows, but it doesn't matter. It's just a nurse. Frank knows who he can trust. The end.
Exactly. We know who Frank is. Mm-hmm. He gets hurt all the damn time. Somebody has to help him patch up,
Yeah. And Rosario Dawson would definitely, that's something that's a person people want to see on screen, right? So anyway, hopefully, though, this means that they are bringing her back, maybe for Daredevil season 3. That would be great.
That
Daredevil
would
Born
be
Again.
awesome. That would be awesome. So
Yeah.
let's see. How did you feel when Frank was in the window with the mask on, and then all of a sudden you hear the yeah?
It was nice to see him experience some rare joy.
Joy. Yeah.
And it was also when Peter went into the crowd, and there was that one kid who clocked him basically and did like the spider thwip
Yes.
gesture.
Yes.
It reminded me of what we found out was actually canonically Peter Parker as a kid doing that to Iron Man.
Yes, yes. That was a great callback. I just think the movie ended, like you said, it was just appropriate. It felt good at the end. You've gone on this journey with Peter Parker, with Spider-Man, and you end up at a place where you feel good for him, you know? And I think that was leaving the theater through the tears and the ups and downs of the emotional beats of the movie, that you left the theater feeling good about the character, about where the character is at, was really, really top notch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what did you think? What did you think about the post? I was expecting a bigger post-credit scene, but
yeah, me too.
But we just see the Spidey tracker, and it's showing like a sighting of Peter in Queens. But we did see that the Spidey tracker shows old sightings too. So there was a sighting of Spider-Man in space. So immediate questions there. First of all, who's reporting the sighting? Is it Peter doing it himself? Is this actually like Tom Holland, Peter Parker, or is this a different Spider-Man? Like people keep expecting Tobey Maguire to show back up. Yeah. What's your take? What's your tinfoil interpretation of this?
I really don't know, because there was, once they went in, it showed in space. I was like, oh, Battleworld, you know? But then I'm thinking like, no, it can't be Battleworld, because that's like too far away for it to have been Battleworld. So yeah, I like the Tobey Maguire part of it. But again, do you really think that it's going to lead to something?
I think at this point they are planning a lot more tightly. And so whatever this is, I'm sure either leads into Secret Wars and or the next, we know this is going to be could be, or an incursion, like someone coming through an incursion, or directly into the next. We know this is going to be a new trilogy of films.
Right. So I think I lean right now towards the incursion aspect of it, like it's Toby or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
What if they did the animated Miles Morales? I think that would be cool.
Oh, you think?
They had live action Donald Glover in.
Yeah, you're right.
I love a Roger Rabbit moment.
I think it would be amazing if they did that.
If they pull it off carefully.
I just don't know if they would.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if they would. But I think that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. So what you were saying that this is based, I mean, the title seems to be based on this comic Brand New Day, and I wanted to read it, but I didn't find time for it. But now you're telling me that it's actually a completely different story. So what's...
Yes, it's a completely different story. So Aunt May is dying. Peter makes a deal with Mephisto to erase the happiest day of his life. Right? He wants people to, at this point of Spider-Man, people know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And it causes Aunt May to be in constant danger. So he wants that erased. So Mephisto says, I'll do it, but as something that I want. And what I want is your happiness, basically. So when I do it, you also never have been married to Mary Jane.
Oof.
Because they were married at this point as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Brand New Day erases years of Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson's relationship. Their marriage is gone. Everybody now does not remember that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So he goes back to having his dual identity. And Mary Jane and Peter have not been together in the comic book since.
Sad face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are... I'd be hard pressed to find one person that I talk about comics with who was in favor then or in favor now over the erasure of Mary Jane and Peter's marriage and the history that they had. Very controversial story point in Spider-Man lore.
Yeah. Well, it's like Wanda and Vision. Like, how are they still not back together?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see the inspiration that this film in the last, also the setup is taking from that. But well, obviously I'm more invested in this version, and I'm glad. I do think this is going to end up with the two of them together. I mean, obviously, it's what the story demands. It's what the fans want. The damn couple's married in real life. Like,
Get the people what they want.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that occasionally, you know?
Yeah. This is a way that's not limiting, like saying like, oh, we only want certain types of characters. This is a way that's it's let love live, as I say on the Silo podcast all the time. We got a piece of feedback from Ken W.
Oh, thank you, Ken.
You want to read it?
Sure. Here we go. Hello, just sitting here waiting on post-credit scene and wanted to let you know it's by far the best Spider-Man movie. Totally agree. Excitement, thrills, and plenty of tears. The Punisher in all his glory, and Jean would absolutely love one of the scenes more than any other.
Is it the Kick Rocks one or the shooting one?
Of course it's the Kick Rocks one. It has to be the Kick Rocks boys. Anyway, can't wait to hear your thoughts. Straight to my number one movie of the year so far. Wow. You're never alone, Ken W. Thank you for the email, Ken. And yes, that was my most loved scene out of any scene that I've seen this year, outside of 2 to the guts, 1 to the face. Cole. This is right up there. This is top 1 and 2. Yes.
So, okay, we know obviously this is setting up toward X-Men. And as you were saying, it's cool to see that Spider-Man will be playing a direct role in this new mutant saga, a very pivotal role in it. But as far as the mutants themselves, we know obviously Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. Great. We've seen that. Great. Perfect casting. Well done. We've now heard that Kit Connor has been confirmed as Cyclops, and Samara Weaving as Emma Frost. What do you think of these castings?
Yeah, they don't bother me. Like, hold on, that's not who I'm waiting to hear.
I know. Well, okay. So
I'm waiting to hear about that.
I'll comment on these real quick. I haven't watched Heartstopper yet. So, and I know that that's what people love Kit Connor from. So I'm not as familiar with him, but I'm excited to see this. I think he looks the part, I guess. Samara Weaving, I know her a lot better from like films like Ready or Not. And I can't imagine a more perfect Emma Frost casting. It is interesting that she's a bit older than the other two. I don't know how that will play into storylines from the comics. But let's jump to, I think you're most interested in hearing about Storm.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are. There's been lots of rumors, but I don't know. Do you have any?
Lots of rumors. I'm totally down with the main rumor. Jamie Lawson.
Who played Perlene in Sinners.
From Sinners, yes.
Yeah, I could see
That's
that.
what. Yeah, just do that.
I could see that.
Just do that. Just do
I could see that. We talked about some of the other rumors in our Supergirl when we were talking about the Marvel
Yeah.
news at the beginning, so I won't repeat those. But there is new rumors. I don't know how founded they are. That from season 2 of Beef, Charles Melton, who by the way, like has a lot of crossover behind the camera with the new X-Men film. So this is another reason this could be true. But they're saying Charles Melton as Beast and Kaylee Spaney as Rogue. Now we had talked about maybe what's her face, Indy
Never.
Navarrete
Yes.
from Obsession as
Mystique.
Mystique. I don't. I mean, this could be a good crew coming together. I don't know. I think the others are not far enough along to really
Comment. Yeah. But D23, the annual Disney showcase, is the 14th, which the 14th is Friday.
of this
I
week.
believe. Yes, this week. So I think this Friday is D23. And I fully expect to see the entire cast of X-Men on stage.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, I think there's going to be some good announcements, and they're going to go in with confidence with these Spider-Man numbers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. And if they
Maybe they'll
weren't
be
planning
like,
on, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, and they'll announce we reversed our Wonder Man reversal. No, sorry, just kidding. I'll put away
we
the clown
reversed
makeup.
T'Challa Jr.
No, I like that one.
I like David Johnson. I'm just saying, David Johnson is T'Challa, no Junior attached.
Fine, but it makes sense to me that they want to keep the story intact. Like, let's show some respect for Lupita Nyong'o and her romance with. And now we have a situation where we can have a new T'Challa. There's rumors, by the way. Did you hear this? That Storm might be introduced in Black Panther 3.
I don't want that.
I mean, they did have childhood friendship, and then she can go off and do her X-Men thing. But she is from Africa.
I know, but raised in Harlem.
Yeah, and she grew up in Cairo, being
a baby.
But they knew each other as kids.
No, I know
as teens.
They did. I'm not disagreeing. I just don't want that.
Okay.
I want her origin story to be firmly rooted in mutantdom. T'Challa Jr. can wait.
She will still be a mutant.
I know, but I want that story.
But I don't want the romance to kick off right away. I don't mind her being introduced there.
Okay, all right. So that's different from what I was just thinking about. Being introduced and being in the movie proper, two different things. Okay.
Like the way Jean Grey was introduced here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I could see that. I wouldn't mind that. Okay.
No, yeah, I would be upset if they immediately got married or something. That wouldn't make sense to me. But
yeah, no.
But they can establish. I would like her established as, because I do. Even though I'm sitting here as a white girl, I've always been a Storm lover and lover of her comics, and I love most actually the comics where she goes back to Africa, to Kenya, to Egypt, Wakanda,
and brings rain. And the people look upon her as a goddess, which she is.
Yeah, a mega level mutant. They said so in X-Men 97 last season.
No, they said so in the comics. So, yeah, she's really... the portrayals that we've gotten from the movies are definitely not standard to who she is and the stature that she has in the comics.
Yeah. I didn't love what they did with Halle Berry. I don't think it's Halle Berry's fault. I think
it's just the circumstances of how they wrote her character.
I think actually in the first movie she was the most like Storm, and then they gave her a mom haircut, and I don't know.
Didn't work.
No.
Didn't work out.
But yeah, next week we'll switch into DC and Lantern starts.
Yes, Lantern starts on Sunday. This coming Sunday. So that's going to be exciting. I'm really, really looking forward to this. I can't wait to see what they've given us, because not for nothing, James Gunn is under some pressure here. Marvel is Marvel. James Gunn is under some pressure,
Mm.
Because Wonder Man, for Daredevil, Spider-Man. That's you got to come up with something. You got to come up with something, and I think they're putting a lot of chips on the table with this Lantern TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, it is what they expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's a lot riding on this TV show.
Mm.
Fairly or unfairly, I think there's a lot riding on the TV show.
I'm excited for it.
Yep.
And then that leads right into what's next in the MCU.
VisionQuest sometime in the fall.
Yeah, it starts
really
the week
sure.
after Lanterns, right? It says it's supposed to release the first episode on October 14th.
14th, yeah.
We'll stay tuned. We'll definitely be covering that as well, of course.
And then Doomsday, of course, on the 18th of December.
Yeah.
I think
Same day as Dune.
Do you want to do a prep for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have to figure that out as we get, because we'll probably, because of when it releases, we'll see how we have to do with recording it. But obviously the holidays complicate things.
Yeah, that's right. Because the holidays, that's right.
Yeah. So we might do a prep and an after effect. We'll let you all know as we get closer.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our Lanterns and VisionQuest coverage. And X-Men.
And then if you have any feedback for us, you want to say hi, we love your podcast. We love your voices. You want to leave us a voice note so we can hear your voices. You can send in anything, a note, an email at comicsverses@thelorehounds.com.
Yep. And you'll find that link in the show notes, and also a link to our Discord, where we have a forum for Marvel. We have another forum for DC. We have forums for everything else that we're covering currently. You and David are just, I guess we should say, you guys are doing the season finale for...
for House of the Dragon.
But yeah, it's been fun to follow along with. You and I did the first couple episodes together, but then for the rest of the season, I've gotten to be the spectator, and it's been fun to watch you live your best life with 2 to the gut, 1 to the face. Sir Smells a Lot. We're coming for you next. I haven't watched the finale yet, by the way.
So. Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, because it just came out as the day that we're recording here. So
okay.
So hopefully I can squeeze it in.
I'll wait to hear what your thoughts on the finale are.
Okay. All right. I'll pop into the Discord. So if anyone else wants to pop into the Discord, share their thoughts on that, then you will find that also in the link tree in the show notes, where you'll also find links to the affiliate network podcasts like my own Will Shift Dust. We are currently in the throes of Silo. And I have to say, episode 7 comes out on this Friday. I've seen it. I love it. I was excited by it. And I think it's just going to be all the way downhill to a mind-blowing finale. If
episode 6, boy, I tell you.
I'm assuming things based on the books. Yeah, I mean, I know you're mad about certain characters, but I like... Well, all right. I that I want radical forgiveness when there's contrition shown. And I think they've been doing interesting things with that this season. But also I need even as a book reader, there are some mysteries I need answers to right now.
Radical forgiveness is definitely big brain potato stuff. Okay.
Kumbaya, my lord. No. I mean, the important thing is when there's contrition, when there is a desire to be forgiven, right. You have to take on the responsibility for what you've done before you expect forgiveness. That's important. But anyway, so you can hear us talk about more stuff like that over on Will Shift Dust, where we are currently covering Silo. Also, check out Dungeons and Do-Rags is also covering A House of the Dragon from a different, much more chaotic, less book, less lore dive version. Shooting from the hip. never mind the music. Of course, where psychology meets music. They are nearing the end of their third season already, going quickly. And the new Cosmere Corner, which is covering the Brandon Sanderson books. I'm following around. The first 2 episodes are out. So I have started. They finally got me to start a non-Wheel of Time Brandon Sanderson book, and
Oh
I'm
my.
enjoying it.
And I'm about to do the same.
Yeah. And we should say the Dungeons and Durags and Cosmere Corner are also both video podcasts. So you can watch
Yes.
them on YouTube if you want. And we just released our Supergirl finally, as we talked about this
Yes, we
before.
did.
Anyway,
We talked about Supergirl.
But just,
So,
if you enjoy this, the best thing that you can do to help us is to share it with other people who you think will enjoy this as well. Get the word out, help us get more people involved in the listening and the conversations. Nice reviews wherever you're listening help a lot too, of course. If you want to go the extra mile, then there's a Supercast and Patreon feeds, which same content, both feeds, but that's where you get ad-free access to all these episodes, plus bonus episodes. We got behind on the July bonus episodes because it's indeed too hot to lore this hot lore summer too.
oh gosh, has it ever?
So you're going to have coming up in quick succession my wine episodes that were scheduled for July, and then we're diving into August immediately, which is John's month, I believe. So, and we always have to do from the Epic folder somewhere. Thank you to our special thank yous to our community volunteers, the Dunedain, a hand of the pod, Nancy, aka Two Kids, Two Dogs, Captain of the Polhirum, Peter OH, Keeper of the Show Tracker, Sub-Zero, Librarian, Brian8063, moderators, Brian8063, and Aaron K. And thank you to our Discord server boosters, Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajulea, Let's Do, Nancy M, Ghost of Partition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. Thank you to all of our subscribers. You make it possible for us to keep doing this. Most of all, thanks to our lore masters, Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter OH, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Garci, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dali V, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elysia U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Carly S, Ilmariel, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy, the TCS, Ellen R, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumbarooney, Katia, Josh Lou, Paintin PDX, Corey G, Quinch, Jenny L, Slavinator, and always last, Adrian. Okay, what is your final message for Feige today, Jean?
Jamie Lawson, and cast a bishop as well. How about that?
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities.
Hey, you still there? As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, since it took me a while to get this one edited, we have since actually gotten those D23 announcements that were being teased. Now, Jean's currently away on vacation, but he did kindly send in a voicemail with his reactions to the X-Men castings. So let's take a listen to that, and then I'll be back to fill in some more of the details and share my own thoughts.
So, what's going on, everyone? D23 has come and gone, and we've had the X-Men cast news that I was certain Feige would give to us. And Elysia, I know you've been waiting, as I've been waiting, for Storm casting news, and we got the Storm casting news. Maya Boyd casted as Storm. Forgive me, that's the only person that I can recall their name at this moment because I'm on vacation. But I will say that I am just really happy with the choices that they made, and that I don't know the majority of the cast that they've announced so far. This to me, is the right way to go if you're not going to use well-known, absolute, A-listers or close to A-listers as these characters, then give the people new faces to get to know and love. So I am ecstatic about that choice, that they've gone away from trying to give us the people that we already know and are now in the business of marketing and making unknown faces known. This is tremendous. The last thing I'll say is Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister, I think, is a perfect casting. Sinister is such a great character, and I really feel that Adam Driver can bring something to the character much akin to what I saw Nicolas Cage do in Spider Noir. The reason why I say that is because Sinister can be a real campy type of character if they allow him to be. There's so many nuances that someone who's playing the role can achieve with Sinister. You can have such fun with his overall demeanor, the way that he sees the world, the way that he talks to people, the way that he talks about people, and the things that he does. So I'm very happy with Adam Driver because I think he can bring that level of camp, if allowed, to the screen as this character. So overall, X-Men news, I'm going to keep it really short to that. Other things happen at D23, but for us, it's all about the X-Men right now. And those other things, we'll talk about them later on. All right, peace out.
So, okay, just to run through, this is the cast that we know of so far for the X-Men movie. Again, as we said before, already confirmed were Sadie Sink, best known as Max from Stranger Things. You saw her in this movie we just discussed in this episode already as Jean Grey. And we already had confirmed Kit Connor, who's best known from Heartstopper, who plays the canonical love of Jean Grey's life, Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, and a character whom I was previously corrected as not shooting lasers from his eyes, but rather energy from the punch dimension. We also had previously cast Samara Weaving, whom you might know from the Ready or Not movies, and she will be Emma Frost, the woman who can crystallize herself and is a sometimes antagonist of the X-Men, most often associated with the Hellfire Club, and sometimes is in a love triangle with the other two characters I just mentioned. And of course, we did already know Jake Schreier was going to be the director. He was there on stage for this announcement as well. As we mentioned in this episode, he was also the director of Thunderbolts, so I'm very excited to see what he does with an X-Men story. But then, added to these four people on stage, we got a few new announcements. Jean mentioned on the villain side, probably the most expensive and high-profile casting is Adam Driver and he introduced himself as Nathaniel Milbury, which is an alias in the comics of Dr. Nathaniel Essex, aka Mr. Sinister. So, in my opinion, Mr. Sinister is probably one of the best X-Men villains. If you want a taste of what he's all about, I would say see especially it's pretty much a standalone flashback episode to the Victorian era in the original X-Men animated series from the 90s. So Season 5, Episode 12, titled Descent. That episode gives great insight into, this long-lived, immortal character's eugenics-forward ways in his destructive quest to create the perfect mutant. And he's shown back up in X-Men 97 as well. Jean also mentioned Maya Boyd as Aurora Monroe, aka Storm. So obviously he was talking about James Lawson. This was a rumored more high-profile casting. Maya Boyd is actually the least known of the cast announcements. She has a background in theater, but I'll say she certainly looks the part, and the Instagram reels have the algorithm's been doing its thing, and I've been seeing clips of her on stage, and she certainly has the acting chops and can sing. And I'm with Sean. I'm all about let's introduce new iconic people. This is a great place to it doesn't need to be a who's who of who's already famous. It's about finding the best people for the role and giving them a platform to tell these stories and grow their own career, I'm sure, in the process. So I'm very excited to see Maya Boyd as Maya and Jean's one of our favorite characters for both of us, Storm. We also talked previously about Indy Navarrete, the best part of the movie Obsession, who has indeed joined the cast, but it turns out as Rogue. And honestly, yeah, this works. I was getting on board with the whole Keke Palmer casting idea, but I understand they're skewing a bit younger, and I can see this and can't wait to see what she does with the role. Haven't heard her Southern accent, so that will be interesting. And then we also got our Charles Xavier, aka Professor X, who is maybe the most surprising of the casting announcements in a way. He's going to be played by Christopher Abbott, who's best known for roles in Girls and last year's Wolfman, amongst other things. And this is the one I think where people were most scratching their head a little bit at the vision, but obviously they saw something in him for this role, and I can't wait to see what it is, although it'll be a shame for him to lose all that nice curly hair. We're definitely going to be getting more castings for this movie as we get closer to it. The movie's not been titled yet. It's going to hit theaters May 5th, 2028. So that does mean it will be out before Black Panther 3, which comes out in December 2028. I, for one, though, would still find it fun if Storm showed up in Black Panther 3 as well, but makes sense she's introduced in the X-Men movie first. As far as the other castings, the rumor mill will still be rumor milling. We know Charles Melton and Kaylee Spaney. The rumors for them as Beast and Rogue obviously didn't pan out. Now we have a different Rogue, and Melton has officially passed. So who else are they going to bring in? It will be fun to see. In addition to these casting announcements, we also got new trailers released for VisionQuest, which looks absolutely awesome. We know it's going to be released October 14th. Now, really hoping this is a weekly release. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but since they haven't said the words yet, it's difficult to confirm that for certain. We'll let you know. And then we also got a new trailer for Doomsday coming out the end of this year. Of course, I'll put a link in the show notes to the official Marvel page of these announcements with those trailers embedded in it as well, and some other smaller announcements for Marvel from D23 as well. So enjoy. Happy Marvel times, and see you soon for X-Men 97. And tune in for Jean and David covering this week. The new Lanterns episode has released at the time that I'm editing this episode and recording this postscript. Haven't gotten to see it yet, but I'm seeing nothing but rave reviews. So excited to sink my teeth into this one. See you there.